Welcome to this lecture, and this is an introductory lecture of inheritance. So the mechanism by which one class acquires the property of another class, which is called inheritance. One of the most important concepts in object-oriented programming language is inheritance. Inheritance allows us to define a class in terms of another class, which makes it easier to create and maintain an application. So this also provides an opportunity of reuse the code functionality and fast implementation time. So we just go next. So arrange concept into an inheritance hierarchy. So concept at higher level are most general and the concept at low level are most specific. So inheritance properties of concept at higher level, like you just see here that we have a parent class which is vehicle. Okay, then you just see another class which is wheeled vehicle and then boat. Okay, so this is our parent class which is vehicle, then child class, and you can see here the properties of that vehicle class. We have the car and then bicycle. Okay, so these are the properties of that class, and this is parent and it's derived, these child classes derived from this parent class. Okay, then we have the properties of car which are 2-door car and 4-door car. Okay, so this is the simple hierarchy of the inheritance. Next, C++ and inheritance, the language mechanism by which one class acquire the property, data and the operators of another class. First we have the base class. So the base class is being inheritance from, which is our super class, and you just also class this base class to the parent class. Then we have the derived class, which is also called the child class. Okay, so the derived class or the subclass, so this class is inheritance from, means this class inherit from this base class. Okay, so the advantages of inheritance. When a class inherits from another class, there are 3 benefits. You can reuse the method and the data of existing class, and you can extend the use class by adding new data and the new method. Then you can modify the existing class by overloading its method with your own implementations. You can see the diagram of deriving one class from another. As you can see here, we have this class which is QType object, and this is the private data members of this base class. Then we just access these all data members from this class. So this is simply the deriving one class from another class, you can see here. Okay, then we just see inheritance and accessibility. So a class inherit that behavior of another class and instance it is same way. Inheritance does not mean inheritance access to another class, which is the private members. What does a child class have? An object of derived class has all members defined in the child class and the all members declared in the parent class. An object of derived class can be used all the public members defined in the child class and a public members defined in the parent class. The rules of building a class hierarchy, which is a derived class, are a special case of the base class. A derived class can also serve as the base class of a new class, and there is no limit on the depth of inheritance allowed in C++, as far as it is within the limit of your compiler. It is possible for a class to be an base class for more than one derived class. Remember that. Static versus dynamic binding. So static binding is the determination of which method to call at compile time, and the dynamic binding the determination of which method to call at the runtime. We have the multiple inheritance, which is derived class cannot inherit from more than one base class. Okay, so you can see here this is our parent class and this is child to this parent, and we have the class name X, Y and Z. Okay, Now this class is inherit from this class, mean this is a child and this is a parent. If we create third class here, which is the Z class, so our this class will be parent and this class will be child to it. Okay, so child parent and this is child to this class parent. Okay, so if you find any of the problem regarding with this lecture, please let me know. And this is the multiple inheritance, and if you find any of the problem regarding with this multiple inheritance, please let me know. And thanks for watching this lecture. Welcome to this lecture. And in this lecture we are just going to talking about the based and the derived classes in C++. Okay, when creating a class, instead of writing completely new data members and the member functions, the programmer can designate that the new class should inherit the member of an existing class. The existing class is called the base class and the new class is referred to be the derived class. So a class can be derived from more than one class, which means that it can inherit the data and the function from the multiple base classes. So to define a derived class, we use the class derivation list to specify the base class. So a derivation list means means one or more base class, and it has the form like we have the class which is derived class, and then access specifier, and then based class. Okay, so where access specifier is one of the public, protected, or the private, and the base class is the name of the previously defined class. If the access specifier is not used, then it's provide a default. Let's just see the example. So we have the base class here like name, shape. So shape name, this class is our based class. So here I just write public and then void, which is set width, where integer w is our parameters, and then width here is equal to w. Okay, so this is w. Now here I just write void set height, and integer h here is our height parameters, and then width, which is equal to height, which is equal to h. So this is our based class, or you can see this is our parent class. Now class rectangle, so our shape is rectangle, which is inherit from our base class. Then access specifier, which is a public, and then shape. So shape our base class right here. So I just told you that derived class, which is the colon sign and then access specifier and the base class name, and the access specifier will be the public, protected, and the private, any of it. Now here I just write that protected, which is integer width and integer height. So I just protect these height and the width. Okay, which is the abstract, means you can hide this information of the width and height in the base class. Okay, so now public, which is integer get area, and then I just write that it will return width and height. Okay, so area formula is width multiplied by height. Now I just go to the main function, and the main function right here is I just write rectangle. So I think rectangle spelling is wrong here, so I just simply write rect, and then rect, which is dot set height, and the height is 6, and rectangle dot set width, and the width here is 10. Okay, now cout and total area, so that will print the object of rectangle, which is the total area. Okay, and dot, I just write get area, and then end line. Okay, now return 0. Build and compile. So you can see here it is compiling, and now you can see here it calculate the width and the height, and the total area is 60 here. So first of all, I just define the base class, which is the name of shape, then specifier, which is public void, and set the width, then variable to the width, and then set the height, then variable to the height. Then I just hide the functionality of these two. Okay, and then this is the syntax that how you access the parent class with the help of derived class. So class rectangle, and then specifier and the base class name, and then the value to it, and then at the last I just go to the main function and rectangle, and then create an object to this class, and then rectangle, so it will get the height and the width of the base class, and then print the total area of that rectangle class. So if you find any of the problem regarding this base class inheritance, please let me know, and thanks for watching this lecture. Welcome to this lecture, and in this lecture you will learn about different models of inheritance in C++, which are the multiple, multi-level, and hierarchical inheritance. So let's just start. So inheritance is one of the core feature of an object-oriented programming language. So it allows software developer to derive a new class from the existing class. The derived class inherits the feature of the base class. Let's just see the multi-level inheritance. Okay, so I just write multilevel.c++. Okay, now in this programming not only you can derive a class from the base class, but you can also derive a class from the derived class. So it is a form of inheritance which is known as multi-level inheritance. Let us suppose we have like a class name A, and then specifiers like public, and I just write the function name void, and then display. Okay, and then it will print cout, which is base class content. Okay, close this code, and then we'll go to the class B. So class B is our second class, which is derived from this class, means from parent class. So here I just write public A. Okay, and then class C, which is derived from public class B. Okay, and then I just write integer main. Okay, so C, and here I just write C and obj to create the object to this class, and then obj dot display the members of our this class A, and return 0. So in this program, class C, which derived from class B, which is the derived class of the class A. The object of this class C is defined in the main function. When the display function is called display, so in this class A is executed at base, there is no display function in C++ and C and class B. The compiler first look the display, so function in the class C, since the functions does not exist here. It's look for the function in the class B, and as C is the derived from B. So the function also does not exist the class B. So the compiler look for the class A as B is derived from A. If display function exists in the C, the compiler override the display of the class A because of method function overriding. Let's just see the output of this code. And as you can see here, it will print us the base content of this class A. Okay, base class content. Now we just go to the multiple inheritance. In C++ programming, a class can be derived from more than one parent. For example, class A, we have, let's suppose class A, which is like shape, and it's derived from the base class of rectangle and you just see triangle. It makes sense because base class shape is a rectangle as well as triangle. And we just go to this class and I just copy the code of that, and here I just write shape, which is the void set width and then set height, and then it is protected with integer width and the height. So here I just define another base class because this is the multiple inheritance. So class, which is the base of, here I just write paint cost. Okay, so one other class right here. So right here public and then integer get cost and integer area. Okay, now return area and the cost here is 70. Okay, then we just go to the rectangle class and it will derive from the shape class, and then I just write public and paint cost class right here. So this class derived from this and this, and then public dot get area and get width, height and width. You can see here it gives us a return value, and then rectangle rect right here. So integer, I just write here integer area, and then rectangle dot set width and the set height right here. So after that I just write area, which is equal to rectangle, and then I just write get area. Okay, now print that total area dot rectangle dot get area, and then I just print the total cost. So C out here is, I just write that total cost, and then here I just write rectangle dot get cost, and the cost of that is area, which is equal to end line. Okay, now I just check the output for that. So we have an error right here, which is to get area, which is rectangle dot get area, and then yes, miss the semicolon right here. And you can see here, first it will get the area, which is 60, and the cost is 4200 of 4200, which is the print cost right here. So let's just see the hierarchical inheritance, and we just not working with the hierarchical inheritance of the real life example. So we just simply write hierarchical dot C++. So if you have more than one class in the inheritance, so from the base class, it's known as hierarchical inheritance. In hierarchical inheritance, all features that are common in the base class are including in the base class. So let's just see simply the syntax of that class, which is class, and then you have the base class. Okay, then class first and underscore derive class, which is inherit from the base class. Sorry, it's inheritance from the base class, and that one. Then we have second class, which also inherited from the base class, and then we have third class which is also inherited from the base class. So all the classes inheritance from the base class, it's also called hierarchical inheritance. So if you find any of the problem regarding to this lecture, please let me know, and thanks for watching this lecture.